is ideal.
My independence is possible because of it.
Listen to former U.S. Surgeon General Dr. C. Everett Koop.
Thanks to Life Alert, you can live alone without ever being alone. That's why I wear one.
With Life Alert protection, elderly people can often postpone going to a retirement home for several years. For a free brochure about Life Alert service, call now 1-800-315-2424. 1-800-315-2424. Call Life Alert now for your free brochure. 1-800-315-2424.
What's Cooking Today with Erik and Jack, live across America. Bob Greene is with us now. He's Oprah's trusted exercise expert. We're talking about National Public Health Week, and we're talking about breakfast. Hello, Bob. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on today.
Well, thanks for being with us. First of all, Erik.
Hey, Bob, I got to tell you, my wife, when she got your book, The Best Life Diet, she would sit there late at night reading your book to me as I'm starting to go to sleep, and like imbuing the pearls of wisdom that you have in the book. And there's a lot of stuff that I learned, a lot of facts, simple things that people can do in their everyday routine to kind of improve their health and improve their overall, kind of attitude. And the biggest one was breakfast. And that's the one thing I came away from learning from that book, is that the breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Tell us why.
Well, I'm glad, some of it absorbed, because at first I was thinking, oh, my God, she's reading my book to put him to sleep. So I'm glad some of it absorbed. And breakfast really is the most important meal. It really starts your day. It actually elevates, eating, when you do it right with the right foods, it raises your metabolism, which is a really good thing. No better time to raise your metabolism than in the morning. And if that breakfast contains really good quality lean protein, you're going to improve your blood sugar. In other words, it's going to prevent those spikes in your blood sugar that get us in trouble. And we know that people that eat breakfast eat fewer calories. So important to have a really good, solid breakfast. And, if you're not hungry for breakfast, that signals a problem that your metabolism is kind of limping along. Now, we are talking about a good breakfast.
Yeah, we're talking about, high grain cereals. We're talking about eggs. We're talking about, cheeses. I mean, stuff that can give you a lot of protein, a lot of good nutrition. But, I mean, how do you do portion control? How do you make sure you're eating the right size breakfast?
Well, obviously, if you're more active, which I profess, you can have a little more grace. But standard serving size, 2 eggs, for example, is really good. There's a product I absolutely love that it makes eggs really convenient, and that's Crystal Farms All Whites and Crystal Farms Better in Eggs. And that also has the advantage of there isn't any cholesterol, and it is real egg. It's a pasteurized egg, so it's in a carton, pre-measured, and the serving size is right there on the carton. So, I love that product. And I add vegetables to it, peppers and onions and tomatoes, and you have a great way to start your day. In fact, I add the all whites in particular, I love in my smoothies. And you could do either product in a smoothie. Smoothies are another one, really quick. I have tons of those recipes on thebestlife.com, or they're also, I have some smoothie recipes at allwhites.com. And great way to get out the door and have, a hit of fruit, some really good quality protein, not only from the egg product, but also from whatever milk, whether you use a soy milk or a low-fat milk. So that, to me, is one of the most perfect breakfasts right there, and it's really quick, which is really important for a lot of people.
Now, Bob, in my diet, I don't really eat a whole lot of meat, so I traditionally use like these substitutes you could find at the grocery store. And one of them is like a breakfast link. It's a vegetarian breakfast link that you kind of grill up in the skillet, and it tastes real good, but I'm concerned about the sodium, and I'm concerned about maybe is it something that I should be eating? Is it something I should be staying away from because I have to skillet cook it? I mean, are those vegetarian alternatives, are those good for breakfast as well? I mean, I know sometimes
they really are. There's another one that I just gave the seal to. It's called Gardein protein, and I know Costco carries it, as well as the Vons has picked it up. Kroger's has picked it up.
Hey, Bob, what's wrong with the real thing? I mean, I like bacon and eggs. I'm going to say it. Nobody says it. Everybody talks about eating healthy, but most Americans like bacon and eggs. They like to have bacon with their
Jack would just eat bacon if he could just eat bacon.
I would
yes, you would.
But if you eat healthy and the portion control is there, what is wrong with bacon?
Well, you've said a couple things. like I said, in the Best Life diet, there's not one food that I prevent you from eating.
Okay.
And that's important. So you can have anything in moderation. The problem with most people, you might be very controlled with that. So many people will have, their strips of bacon for breakfast, then they're chopping it up on a sandwich, and then they're adding sodium. The sodium in bacon is painfully high.
Yep.
And we're starting this process of the food manufacturers are finally getting on board and realizing how damaging sodium has been. So bacon is, not only do you have the saturated fat, you have the sodium, and then you have another component in bacon that usually you have the nitrates, which is a whole nother risk category. I'm not saying never have it, but usually when someone says that, they might not be as disciplined as you. And then, it's okay. They've talked themselves into that product is okay. Then they overdo it. And not only do they overdo that, they're having other things that they don't realize have the same amounts of saturated fat, nitrates, and sodium. So that's the point. That doesn't mean, it has to come off the table for you. But these alternatives are really good. There's some... a great example is I grew up, and I don't know the ages of everybody here, but I grew up, whole milk was your only option.
Yeah. I'm with you.
And then, all of a sudden 2%, we all knew it was healthier. It was an alternative. And I don't know if you remember, but I made the switch, and it wasn't a big deal.
No, I like the 2%, yeah. The 1%, though, no way.
Not too long ago, 1% came along. Yeah. I made that adjustment. There was a little adjustment period, but okay. Then skim, I never went there unless I'm doing it in a smoothie. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm that's my field, and I have trouble going with skim milk. So 1%'s it. But my point is, if you poured me a glass of whole milk today, it would feel greasy and heavy.
Yeah.
It fills you up.
Everything you do.
It's like drinking whipped cream. Yeah.
Exactly. So everything works that way. If you start cutting down on sodium, cutting down on sugar, cutting down on the bad things that technically we're all kind of addicted to, or many people are, the same thing happens, that you get used to it, and then all of a sudden you have something really salty. It's offensive. And that's what you're trying to do. It's not trying to make people eat perfectly tomorrow. But over time, you gradually improve, start tossing out those foods. Back to bacon, it's got too many strikes against it. That doesn't mean never have it. Cut down, though, is going to be in your best interest.
Hey, now, Bob, really quickly, we have about 30 seconds here, but one other thing I picked up from your great book, Best Life Diet, was vegetable portions. When you're eating your meals, you should see a lot of color in your plate. You should see a lot of greens, a lot of reds, a lot of yellows, a lot of things indicating that you have vegetables on your plate and not a lot of browns and starchy stuff. Is that something that we can start incorporating now into our diets today, get more green vegetables in those plates?
Yes, but don't be afraid. The browns, I don't want to give a bad rap because you got brown rice, which is a really healthy grain. You need that. But the more color on your plate, the better, because it's something people don't realize, like carrots. We know carrots are pretty darn healthy. I don't personally like carrots, but every once in a while, I crave them.
Sure.
We have this ability.
Bob, we got to run, Bob, but what's the website, quickly?
TheBestLife.com and AllWhites.com. Lots of great recipes, not only for breakfast, but throughout the day.
Thank you, Bob.
Come to quality. Come to luxury. Relax at the Fountain Grove Inn Hotel and Conference Center in Santa Rosa, California. Experience our newly renovated guest rooms, generously sized and decorated in the